Hello da Tangam, welcome to Gully Classroom. This is the third lecture in which chapter sir? In the chapter metals and non-metals in CBSE 10th standard chemistry chapter 3 metals and non-metals. This is the third lecture that is taken in English. This is the third lecture that is taken in English. If you want the Tamil version of this lecture, that is also available. You can simply search for the Tamil version of this lecture in the playlist, which will be starting with the words T3, Tamil third lecture, which will be starting with the words T3, Tamil third lecture. Okay. Okay, sir. Before we start this particular lecture, kindly recollect what we have learnt in the first two lectures. In the first two lectures, Tangam, we learnt about what are metals, what are non-metals. We learnt about the physical properties of metals as well as non-metals. Then we started about the chemical properties of metals. We looked at how metals react with oxygen, how metals react with water, how metals react with dilute acids. That's basically the first two lectures in a nutshell. Sir, what are we going to learn in this particular lecture? In this particular lecture, we will learn about how metals react with other metal salts or metallic compounds. Okay, sir. What next? We will also learn about all the chemical properties of non-metals. We will also learn about all the chemical properties of non-metals. Okay, sir. Without wasting any time, kindly go and start this particular lecture. Absolutely, Tangam. Reaction of metals with other metallic compounds. Let us say there is a metal A. It is going to react with a metallic compound BC. Here A is more reactive than B. Let me repeat myself. A is more reactive than B. So what is going to happen? The more reactive metal A displaces the less reactive metal B outside the compound. Let me repeat myself. The more reactive metal A comes here, fights with B, sends B outside and joins with the C. So, saying this in a single word, you can simply say a more reactive metal displaces B, a less reactive metal, from its compound. A joins with C, and what does it form? It forms AC. It sends B outside. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Here the thing to understand is A is a more reactive metal, B is a less reactive metal. So A displaces B out of its compound. Give me a couple of examples so that I can understand this to its complete nature. Absolutely, Tangam. Let us take magnesium. Magnesium, when it reacts with FeSO4, what is happening? Here you are getting MgSO4 plus Fe. How, sir? Mg is more reactive than Fe. So Mg comes over here, sends Fe outside, and it is simply joining with SO4 and forming MgSO4. Give us another example, sir. Absolutely, Tango. Let us take zinc over here. Zinc, when it reacts with FeSO4, what is happening? Zinc is more reactive than Fe. So zinc comes over here. It takes SO4 and forms ZnSO4. Here Fe is left out. Fe is left out. Okay, sir. Let me ask you a question. Absolutely. Sir, FeSO4, what is the other name for FeSO4? The other name for FeSO4 is green vitriol. Sir, why is it called as green vitriol? Because when FeSO4 combines with when FeSO4 combines with 7 molecules of water, when FeSO4 combines with 7 molecules of water, it is green in color, hence it is called as green vitriol. What about ZnSO4, sir? ZnSO4 is called as white vitriol. When ZnSO4 combines with 7 molecules of water, it automatically becomes white in color, so it is called as white vitriol. So what is the 7 molecules of water? We have learnt about this in the chapter acids, bases and salts. This is simply called as water of crystallization. The water of crystallization usually gives color to these sulfate salts. If you want to learn more about this, do type in Google. What do I need to type in, sir? Do type in water of crystallization Gully Classroom and learn about water of crystallization, over there in the chapter as its bases and salts. Okay sir, that is fine. Do write another reaction. Absolutely, absolutely. But sir, you have taken more reactive metals than iron. Magnesium is more reactive than iron, so it is displacing iron out of its compound. Zinc is more reactive than iron, so it is displacing iron out of its compound. Now, please write a reaction where iron is more reactive. Please write a reaction where iron is more reactive. Okay, let me do this. Fe plus CuSO4. Here iron is more reactive than copper. So iron is coming over here, reacting with SO4 and forming FeSO4. It is sending copper outside. It is sending copper outside. Fine sir, fine sir. Now what is CuSO4 called as? CuSO4 can be called as blue vitriol. Okay sir. How many molecules of water of crystallization does blue vitriol have? It has 5 molecules of water. It has 5 molecules of water. Okay sir, that is absolutely fine. What next? Let us go for some more reactions where we are going to displace copper out of its compound. Okay sir, let us take magnesium then, because magnesium is more reactive than copper. Okay, so I am going to write Mg plus CuSO4, which here magnesium displaces copper out of its compound and forms MgSO4 plus MgSO4 plus Cu. That is fine sir, that is fine sir. Give me another reaction with copper sulfate as the salt. Absolutely Tango. Let me write another reaction with copper sulfate as the salt. Let me write aluminium. Aluminium, when it reacts with the CuSO4, what is happening? You are having aluminium is more reactive than copper. Aluminium displaces copper out of its compound, combines with SO4, forms AlSO4. How am I supposed to write the compound, sir? You have learnt about this in the 9th standard. Here you will write what is the oxidation state of aluminium. +3. What is the oxidation state of sulfate? -2. You will cross it over like this. Am I right? You will cross it over like this. You will bring 2 over here. You will bring 2 over here. So it becomes Al2. What next? You will bring 3 over here. So it will become SO4 thrice. It will become SO4 thrice. This is how you need to write the formula for aluminium sulfate, Al2SO4 thrice, plus what will be left out? Once more copper will be left out. Sir, do balance this particular equation. Absolutely Tango. How are we supposed to balance this particular equation? Here there is 3 sulfate. So I am going to put a 3 over here. That is fine. What next? Here there is 3 copper. I am going to put a 3 over here. Here there is 2 aluminum. I am going to put a 2 over here. That's basically more reactive salts than copper displacing, more reactive metals than copper, displacing copper out of its compound. Okay sir. Now I want a particular reaction where copper is more reactive. Really, you want a reaction where copper is more reactive? Okay, you see, copper is more reactive than silver. So copper can displace silver out of its compound. What will it form? It will form CuNO3 twice plus Ag, silver, will be left out. How are we supposed to balance this particular equation? In this particular equation, here you are writing NO3 twice. I am going to put a 2 over here. That is fine. Here there is 2 silver. I am going to put a 2 over here. Hence, this particular equation is absolutely balanced. Copper is more reactive than silver. So, it displaces silver, combines with NO3 and forms CuNO3 twice. Okay, sir. Let me write another equation where AgNO3 is being displaced, where silver is being displaced. Absolutely. What metal do you want me to use here? Sir, please do use zinc. Why? Just like that, sir. No big reason. Okay. Zinc plus AgNO3. What is going to happen? Zinc is more reactive than Ag. Now what will zinc do? Zinc will immediately react with the NO3. Zinc will immediately react with the NO3 and it will form ZnNO3 twice, plus it will send out Ag, argentum, silver. Yeah, how are you supposed to balance this particular equation? In this particular equation, here there is 2NO3. I am going to put a 2 over here. Yeah, here there is 2Ag. I'm going to put a 2 over here. That's basically some different types of what? Single displacement reaction, sir. Really, sir? Don't you remember? You did teach single displacement reaction in the first chapter. If you don't remember, sir, please go to Google. Type Gully Classroom single displacement reaction. There you told us that yeah, more reactive metal will come over here. It will fight with a metallic compound and displace a less reactive metal in order to combine with the negative ion and form a compound. A more reactive metal will displace a less reactive metal from its compound. Let me repeat once more. A more reactive metal will displace a less reactive metal from its compound to form a salt. This is called as single displacement reaction. So all of the reactions of metals with other metallic compounds are simply examples of single displacement reaction. All these reactions are happening in aqueous salt solution. So everything is happening in water medium. All the salts are present as aqueous. So you can understand that all the salts are simply present as aqueous. The metals are obviously being solids when you are reacting them. The metals are being solids. So once more, you are getting a salt. This is also aqueous. This salt is also aqueous. All of these salts are simply aqueous. Here you are getting metals as solids. The displaced metal, the metal that is sent outside as solids. Okay, sir. I am understanding this. So a metal A reacts with a salt solution of B, reacts with a salt solution of a metal B. Here metal A is more reactive, metal B is less reactive. So metal A displaces metal B from its from its compound and forms a salt solution. Sir, here I understand that magnesium and zinc are more reactive than iron. Okay. Iron, magnesium and aluminum are more reactive than copper. Okay. Copper and zinc are more reactive than silver. Okay, sir, but how am I supposed to remember which metal is more reactive than which metal? Is there a simple way? Absolutely. For that particular reason. For which reason, sir? For remembering the reactiveness of metals. In chemistry, we have something called as reactivity series. Sir, what is reactivity series? Reactivity series is simply metals that are arranged in the order of their decreasing reactivity. Metals that are arranged in the order of their decreasing reactivity. So the topmost metal is most reactive. The bottommost metal is least reactive. Sir, here you have written the topmost metal as potassium. So are you telling me that potassium is the most reactive metal? Not necessarily. When compared with cesium, atomic number 55, when compared with cesium, atomic number 55, which is also a first group metal, cesium is more reactive than potassium. So why aren't you writing cesium over here? The thing is, cesium cannot be normally used in the lab. Cesium cannot be normally used in the lab. It is very, very reactive. It will simply explode. It will simply catch fire. So you are not going to use cesium in the lab. So potassium is the metal that you are going to use in the lab. Potassium is also extremely reactive, but still it can be used in the lab under controlled circumstances. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So are you telling me that potassium is more reactive than sodium, sodium is more reactive than calcium, calcium is more reactive than magnesium, magnesium is more reactive than aluminium, aluminium is more reactive than zinc, zinc is more reactive than iron, iron is more reactive than lead, lead is more reactive than hydrogen, hydrogen is more reactive than copper, copper is more reactive than mercury, and so on. Absolutely, the metals that are present on the top are more reactive than the metals that are present towards the bottom. Okay, sir, I am fine with this idea. So metals that are arranged in the order of their decreasing reactivity are called as reactivity series. In fact, a metal which loses electron easily is more reactive. So metals which are present to the top are more reactive. They lose electrons easily. They are more electropositive, which means they will easily provide electrons and become noble gas configuration. They will easily give away their electrons and attain noble gas configuration. Metals towards the bottom do not lose electrons easily. They are less reactive and they are less electropositive. Let me tell you a very important point. Metals by nature are electropositive. Let me repeat. Metals by nature are electropositive. They like to give away electrons in order to attain noble gas configuration. So, kindly do a very small illustration about this. Absolutely. Let us take sodium. Sodium atomic number 11. So, the electronic configuration is 2, 8, 1. Sodium easily loses this one electron in order to form an Na plus configuration, so that it reaches what configuration? 2, 8, which is neon configuration. So, metals easily lose electrons in order to attain noble gas configuration since they are electropositive. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. But still, I am not comfortable, sir. Why, Tangam? Why? Because I am not able to remember this entire series. How am I supposed to remember this series? There is a very nice song which you can use in order to remember this series. Really, sir? Absolutely. Do you want me to sing? Please, sir, do sing. Give me a second. Let me get ready. Okay, ready for the song? Jabba jab, please and Charlies. Jabba jab, monkeys, zebras, monkeys and zebras. Jabba jab, please and Charlies, monkeys and zebras. Jabba jab, in lead high cages made of silver and gold, made of silver and gold. Let me repeat the song. Please and Charlies, jabba jab, monkeys and zebras, jabba jab, in lead high cages, jabba jab, made of jab, silver, jab, and gold. Didn't I get the song correctly? Let me repeat the song once more. Please and Charlies, jabba jab, monkeys and zebras, jabba jab, in lead high cages, jabba jab, made of jab, silver and gold. Okay, sir, how do you want me to relate this song with this particular reactivity series? It is easy. Come on, guys. Please send Charlies. Please send Charlies, monkeys, and A for and zebras, Z for zebras, in I lead L high H cages, made of, lead high cages made of silver and gold. So let me do the song once more along with the metal. Please send Charlies, jab, potassium, sodium, calcium. Please send Charlies, potassium, sodium, calcium. The first letters match. Please send Charlies, potassium, sodium, calcium. Monkeys and zebras, magnesium, aluminum, zinc. Monkeys and zebras, magnesium, aluminum, zinc. In, take a pause from the song. Lead high cages. So, lead high cages, lead, hydrogen, copper, lead high cages made of jab, mercury, made of mercury, silver and gold. That's basically how you are going to remember this particular reactivity series. Are you comfortable with how you are going to remember the reactivity series? Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, sir. The song is fun, sir. Thank you, Tanko. Okay, sir. Now let me ask you a question. Hydrogen has a lot of non-metallic characteristics. Yes. Hydrogen does have a lot of non-metallic characteristics. But hydrogen is placed in the reactivity series of metals. Why, sir? Hydrogen is basically electropositive in nature. Hydrogen, what is the atomic number of hydrogen? Hydrogen has 1 electron. So the atomic number of hydrogen is 1. What is happening? This electron is being lost and hydrogen usually has a 1 plus oxidation state. Hydrogen usually has a 1 plus oxidation state. This, in fact, H plus is called as a hydrogen ion. H plus is called as a hydrogen ion. Okay, sir. I am comfortable with H plus being a hydrogen ion. It is being electropositive. And because metals are electropositive in nature, and hydrogen is also electropositive in nature, even though hydrogen has a lot of non-metallic properties, we are placing hydrogen in the reactivity series. Okay, Kana, okay, Kana. There is even another reason for placing hydrogen in the reactivity series. What, sir? The metals which are placed above the hydrogen are called as more reactive metals. Here hydrogen is like an umpire. It is standing in the middle. The metals which are placed above hydrogen are called as more reactive metals. So the metals which are placed below the hydrogen are called as less reactive metals. The metals which are placed below the hydrogen is called as less reactive metals. Are you understanding the role of hydrogen in the reactivity series? Basically, hydrogen is dividing the reactivity series into two parts. More reactive metals and less reactive metals. Okay, sir. I am comfortable with this particular thing. Now I want to learn about the chemical properties of non-metals. Okay, sir. Please do start the chemical properties of non-metals. Before we learn about the chemical properties of non-metals, it will do us a lot of good. What will do us a lot of good, sir? Learning about metals and non-metals once more. Recollecting metals and non-metals once more. Okay, sir. What do you want us to recollect? I want us to recollect that metals are electropositive in nature, non-metals are electronegative in nature. Fine, sir. Okay, so let me write about metals and non-metals. Fine. Metals are electropositive in nature. They lose electrons in order to attain noble gas configuration. Example, Na plus, an electron is being lost. Ca2 plus, once more electron is being lost. What about non-metals, sir? Non-metals are electronegative. They gain electrons in order to attain noble gas configuration. A good example is Cl minus. Okay, sir. I am comfortable. Another good example is O2 minus. Okay, fine. So metals are electropositive in nature, non-metals are electronegative in nature. So what is happening over here? Just like I told before a couple of seconds, sodium has atomic number 11. So what is happening? Its electronic configuration is 2, 8, 1. This one electron is easily kicked outside by the sodium in order to attain noble gas configuration. So sodium is sending electrons outside. Fine. What about calcium? Calcium atomic number is 20. Electronic configuration is 2, 8, 8, 2. These two electrons are sent outside in order for calcium to attain argon configuration. So here also electrons are being kicked out. What is the use of these electrons? With the help of these electrons, metals are able to react with water and dilute acids. Metals are able to react with water and dilute acids. Sir, I am not able to understand this. Give me a better illustration. Absolutely, Tangam. Let us take, what do you want us to take? Let us take metals. Okay, so metals are electropositive. They are easily giving electrons. Fine. Let us take water. Here, water is easily providing H plus ions. Water has a lot of H plus ions. It gives H plus ions. Fine. Acids, in fact, dilute acids also have a lot of H plus ions. So dilute acids are also giving a lot of H plus ions. Now what is happening? The metal, electrons provided by the metal is combining with this H plus. This is positive, this is negative. H plus is combining with this E minus and it is forming H2 gas and it is forming hydrogen gas. Beautiful, sir. That is very, very clear. What about non-metals? Will non-metals react with water and dilute acids? That is the twist here. Non-metals are electronegative in nature. Non-metals need electrons in order to attain noble gas configuration. How, sir? Let us take these particular examples. Let us take the atomic number of chlorine, which is 17. So the electronic configuration is 2, 8, 7. Here the chlorine needs one electron here so that it will form noble gas configuration and form Cl minus. Here also, what is the atomic number of oxygen? Atomic number of oxygen is 8, electronic configuration is 2,6. Here oxygen needs 2 electrons so that it will form a noble gas configuration. Which noble gas configuration? 2,8 neon noble gas configuration. 2,8 neon noble gas configuration with O2 minus, with oxidation state of O2 minus. This is basically the nature of non-metals. Non-metals don't like to give electrons, they like to take electrons. They are electronegative in nature. So how will non-metals react with water and dilute acids? So non-metals do not react with water, they do not react with dilute acids, because for reacting with water and dilute acids you need to give electrons. Metals are electropositive, they are ready to give electrons. Non-metals are electronegative, they will never give electrons. So non-metals do not react with water, do not react with dilute acids. Non-metals do not react with water, steam. Even if you are boiling water, converting it into steam and putting it to non-metals, they will never react. Why? Because non-metals are electronegative. Water as well as dilute acids need electrons so that they can send hydrogen outside. Water as well as dilute acids need electrons so that they can send hydrogen outside. Okay, sir. Fine. So they need electrons for hydrogen formation and release. Non-metals are electronegative, they cannot provide electrons, they in fact steal electrons to attain noble gas configuration. But metals are electropositive in nature, hence metals react with water and dilute acids. Awesome sir. I am comfortable with this particular explanation why non-metals do not react with water and dilute acids. Water and dilute acids give H plus ion. You need to give electrons in order to react with water and dilute acids. So non-metals do not react with water and dilute acids because they are electronegative in nature. They cannot provide electrons, they in fact steal electrons. Okay sir. Let's not repeat this once more. Do go to the next topic. Absolutely Tangam. Let us look at reaction of non-metals with oxygen. Okay, how do non-metals react with oxygen? That's very simple. Non-metals like sulfur combine with oxygen to form SO2. Give me another example. Simple. Let us go for carbon. Carbon combines with oxygen in order to form CO2. One more example. Absolutely. Silicon combines with oxygen in order to form SiO2. Okay. If you look at this carefully, all these non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. Sir, how am I supposed to remember all non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature? That's absolutely easy, Tangam. You can simply draw an A over here. Yeah. So the N has been converted into A, so you can simply say non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. This is how you are going to remember this. When you are studying higher secondary classes, you will get more explanations about what constitutes an acid and what constitutes a base. But right now, in order to remember that non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature, this N has been converted into A for our purpose. Okay, fine. Okay, sir. Now let me ask you a question. You did tell me that non-metals do not react with acids and water. Now, what about metallic oxides? Let me ask you a question. Yeah, you have formed some nice metallic oxides. You already told that these metallic oxides are acidic in nature. Yeah, these metallic oxides are obviously acidic in nature. Yeah, that's basically it. So, these metallic oxides are acidic in nature. How do these metallic oxides react with water? Very nice question. So SO2 when it combines with water, you are getting H2SO3. Sir, H2SO3. What is the name of this acid? It is called as sulfurous acid, sir. What next? See, sir, how will you get sulfuric acid? You need to put SO3 and water. You will get H2SO4, which is going to be called as sulfuric acid. How will you get carbonic acid, sir? Okay, let us put CO2 plus H2O. You will get a H2CO3. Sir, what is the speciality of carbonic acid, sir. The speciality of carbonic acid is it is nothing but the soda that we drink. It is nothing but the soda. You are going to a stall and asking them to give soda. That is nothing, Tango. You are simply mixing carbon dioxide and water. You are getting soda. So you are calling it as carbonic acid or soda. Yeah. Okay, sir. Simply write one more reaction. The last reaction for non-metallic oxides with water. Non-metallic oxides with water. Okay, the last reaction is SiO2. Yeah, because we have combined Si and O2 here. I want to show you what will happen when SiO2 combines with water. When SiO2 combines with water, it is forming H2SiO3. It is in fact called as silicic acid. It is in fact called as silicic acid. Yeah, that's basically it. So, all these particular acids are called as mineral acids. All these particular acids are called as mineral acids. Okay, Tango. So, when non-metallic oxides combine with water, it simply forms different types of mineral acids. It simply forms different types of mineral acids. Reaction of non-metals with oxygen always forms mineral acids. Always forms reaction of non-metallic oxides. Reaction of non-metallic oxides with water simply forms mineral acid. Sorry about the couple of mistakes I told you just a couple of seconds back. I got diverted. My bad. Sorry. Let us continue. Yeah. I hope you guys understood this. Reaction of non-metallic oxides with water will result in the formation of mineral acids. Okay, sir. You did tell me that non-metals do not react with dilute acids. But let me ask you a question. Do non-metals react with concentrated acids? Yes, non-metals react with concentrated acids when they are heated. Let me repeat myself. Non-metals react with concentrated acids when they are heated. Okay, sir, fine. Do write a couple of nice reactions based on this. Okay, Tangam. Let us say sulfur. What acid do you want me to put here, sir? Put sulfuric acid. Absolutely, Tangam. H2SO4. When I am putting with this, what will happen? Obviously, I am giving it a lot of heat. Also, you are putting concentrated acid. What acid you are putting? You are putting concentrated acid and you are heating it. Now, what will happen? Because I am heating it, immediately I will get SO2. This sulfur will take oxygen and escape. Here there is hydrogen, here there is oxygen. So, obviously, there will be water. Okay, sir. Now, how am I supposed to balance this reaction? Balancing this reaction is a lot of fun. Listen carefully. Here there is 4 oxygen. So in order to balance over here, I want to put 2 over here. Okay, fine. What next? Here there is 4 hydrogen. In order to balance this here, I am going to put a 2 over here. Fine. Now what are you going to do, sir? Okay, here there is 2 sulfur. Here also 1 sulfur. Totally 3 sulfur. So I am going to put a 3 over here. This particular equation is balanced. Let us check. So sulfur, here there is 3 sulfur, here there is 3 sulfur, oxygen there is 8 oxygen, here there is 6 plus 2, 8 oxygen, here there is 3 into 2, 6 oxygen, here there is 2 oxygen, so 6 plus 2, 8, here there is 8 oxygen, it is balanced, hydrogen is 4, this particular equation is balanced. Okay, so sulfur, a non-metal, reacts with concentrated sulfuric acid when heated. Sir, give us another example for this particular model of equation. Let us take sulfur once more. Sulfur being a easy non-metal and all. Okay, let us put it with nitric acid. In fact, concentrated nitric acid. What will you get? Obviously, here there is hydrogen, here there is oxygen. When hydrogen and oxygen are heated together, you will always get water. What next, sir? Sir, you are heating nitrogen and oxygen. Once more, you will get a nitric oxide out of it. So, I am going to put NO2, sir. That is fine. What next? Sir, this nitrogen is going outside. So, sulfur will come inside. I am going to put H2SO4, sulfuric acid. This is basically the reaction, sir. That is fine. Obviously, you are going to heat this particular reaction. Okay, how are you supposed to balance this particular reaction? Balancing this reaction is even more tough and more interesting. Do listen to me carefully for perfect understanding. What are you going to do? Okay, let me start with here there is 3 oxygen. Let me start with oxygen. Here there is 3 odd number. Here there is 4 even number. Here there is 2 even number. Here there is 1 odd number. I want to convert this particular odd number into the smallest even number, because usually it is better to balance in even numbers rather than in odd numbers. So I am going to put here 2. That's basically my first step. What next, sir? The next thing is okay, the next thing is I am going to come over here and let me count the, what do I need to count? Let me count the hydrogen over here. Here there is 4 hydrogen. Here there is another 2 more hydrogen. So at least there is how many hydrogen? 4 plus 2, 6 hydrogen. So I want to put a even number here. Let me tell you, I want to put a even number here because I want to convert oxygen into even numbers. Oxygen is easily balanced in even numbers. Remember this point clearly. Oxygen is easily balanced in even numbers. Sir, how do you know this, sir? Because I love chemistry. I am always balancing equations and I have found out that oxygen is usually balanced in even numbers, especially in inorganic chemistry, like what we are learning right now. Yeah, cheers. So for hydrogen, I need to put 3 over here, 6 over here. Count the hydrogen. How many hydrogen is there? Here there is 2, 4, 6 hydrogen is there. Here there is 2, here there is 4. So I am going to put a 6 over here. I am going to put a 6 over here totally. Okay. What next? I need to balance the nitrogen. So here there is 6 nitrogen. I am going to put a 6 over here. Now let me count the oxygen. Oxygen, here there is 18 oxygen, 6 into 3, 18 oxygen. Here there is 4 oxygen. Here there is 6 into 2, 12 oxygen. Here 2 into 1, how much oxygen is there? 2 oxygen, 18, 4 plus 12 plus 2, which is once more 18. So this particular equation is balanced. Sir, why do I need to learn balancing such equations? Are these really necessary? If you want to score well in inorganic chemistry in your higher secondary, do concentrate on balancing equations right now, because doing a balancing of an equation by trial and error gives you a better understanding of what actually is happening in this chemical reaction. Okay, Tanga. Fine. Let us go for the next thing. Now we know that how non-metals react with concentrated acids when they are heated. Non-metals react with concentrated acids when they are heated. What will happen to non-metals when you are putting them in a displacement reaction, like a displacement reaction? Here metals undergo single displacement reaction. My question is, will non-metals undergo single displacement reaction? Absolutely. Non-metals also undergo single displacement reaction. Non-metals also undergo single displacement reaction. Okay sir, fine. Give me an example for this. Absolutely. Let us take chlorine. What are you putting chlorine with? I am putting chlorine with this NaBr. Chlorine more reactive than bromine. What is happening? It is displacing bromine out of its compound and forming NaCl. It is sending bromine outside. How are you supposed to balance this particular equation? Here there is 2 bromine, here there is 2 chlorine. This particular equation is balanced. Fine sir. Now we know that non-metals also show single displacement reaction like metals. Also we have just studied that when heated, reaction of non-metals with concentrated acid forms oxides and salt. It is forming oxides and it is forming different kinds of salt. Okay sir. What is the last reaction? Reaction of non-metals with hydrogen will form hydrides. Okay sir. When a metal combines with hydrogen, when a non-metal combines with hydrogen, it is in fact called as hydrides. When a non-metal combines with hydrogen, it is in fact called as hydrides. Give us a couple of examples, sir. Okay, H2, when it combines with yes, what is it forming? It is forming H2, yes. Hydrogen sulfide. This is a hydride. What next, sir? When N2 is combining with H2, yeah. When N2 is combining with H2, what is happening? You are getting NH3, which is ammonia. Okay, sir. How am I supposed to balance this particular reaction? How am I supposed to balance this particular reaction? Okay. Let us write this inverted in order to better understand what is happening. We will write H2 over here and we will write N2 over here. Now let us balance this particular equation. I want to balance hydrogen. For 3 and 2, the LCM is 6. In order to make hydrogen 6, I am going to put a 3 here. In order to make hydrogen 6, I am going to put a 2 here. Nitrogen is balanced. Look here, Tangom. Here, the non-metal, which is sulfur and nitrogen, are combining with the hydrogen over here in order to form hydrates. Are you able to understand how non-metals react with hydrogen in order to form hydrates? Absolutely, sir. And that's basically the end of the chemical properties of non-metals. Chemical properties of non-metals are very, very easy. In fact, let me do a very short recollection of all the chemical properties of non-metals. First, non-metals do not react with water or acids because non-metals do not give electrons for the formation of hydrogen. Okay, sir. Non-metals react with oxygen in order to form metallic oxides. Non-metallic oxides react with water to form mineral acids. Let me do a very small recollection here. Non-metals do not react with water. Non-metallic oxides react with water. Non-metals do not react with water. Non-metallic oxides react with water and form mineral acids. Okay, sir. What will happen with non-metals are heated with concentrated acids? They form oxides or salt. Non-metals show single displacement reaction. Non-metals react with hydrogen in order to form hydrides. And that's basically the end of this lecture. I hope you guys enjoyed this lecture. Yeah. Cheers and thank you for listening to me. Do recommend our videos to other students who are in need of good quality English lectures without any Hindi words. When I am taking English lectures, there are no Hindi words and everything will be relayed to you in good quality English with clarity and with good audio quality. Yeah, but anyway, if you like our lecture, obviously recommend our channel to your friends through social media, to WhatsApp, through Instagram, so that we will have fun learning at our channel. What will we learn at our channel, sir? We will learn political science, we will learn history, geography, and what next, sir? Chemistry, physics, maths, biology. Each and every subject will be taught here to uttermost clarity right here with me, Muthukumar, at Gully Classroom. Cheers and thank you guys. See you guys in the next lecture. Cheers and thank you. See you guys in the next lecture.